Hey, what's up folks at home? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about what it means to cover water and why it's important to do in the fall. So, first off, when we're talking about covering water, we're talking about covering a large swath of water to eliminate dead water and find where the fish are holding. The fall is super important, and it's really a time when you have to rely on a lot of different baits and a lot of different situations when you go to the lake, because you got to find where the fish are. So the first thing that we understand when we go to a new lake is you want to find a section of the lake that gives you a lot of different looks. Looking at Geist Reservoir here, you've got a dam, you've got a channel that runs up all the way through the lake, and what we see here is we've got the big first creek arm of the lake. If I'm going there and have never been there, this is where I'm going to go because it's going to offer me the most diversity that I can find. It's going to offer me a lot of deep water structure. It's going to offer me some shallow cover and some protected areas up into that first creek arm. And what I can do is fish a lot of water and then repeat that as I go down the lake in different areas and sections. So we're on Omnia Fishing here, and we're looking, I'm going to talk about what baits I would use in each section of the lake, but I am going to start probably fishing at the mouth of this creek in the fall, because what I'm looking for, number one, is bait fish, and number two, existing structure and cover that remains on the lake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at kind of how the lake breaks down, and you can see that we've got 20-foot depths out here. We've got some nice decent structure and break lines out here. We've got a flat that's starting here that rolls in, and you have different depth zones as we go back further into these pockets. What I'm looking for are the depths in where the fish are hanging out. Now, I know that in the fall, turnover becomes an issue, and fish can get dirt shallow. So I want to fish areas that offer me depth up to dirt shallow. So the first place that I am going to look are these offshoots and small pockets, because it is a very short distance for fish to go dirt shallow out to the deeper part of the lake. So I am going to take basically a deep to shallow approach. I am going to run these pockets out here, and you're talking about crankbaits, you're talking about jerk baits, you're talking about swim baits out here on these things. Now, as I work back further in the pocket out here, throw a jerk bait in 10 to 14 feet. See if you got anything in this gut right here. In the wintertime, this is where fish are going to hold. As I work back into this pocket, I'm thinking in here, chatterbait, rattle trap, different things if there's any grass or structure. As I get further back in here, I'm thinking fluke, jig, Texas rig. And what I can start to do as I fish these pockets, and if I start contacting fish, I know that I can catch a fish in 8-foot grass line on a chatterbait. If I can do it in this pocket, I'll be able to do it in this pocket, in this pocket, in this pocket as I go down the lake. Now, as I get into these creek arms, I can see these pockets where there are fish. If I catch nothing in the pockets, then I'm going to go into the creek arms, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run all the way back in here to these shallow points and bays, and what I'm going to start looking at is existing structure and cover back in these super shallow areas, because turnover affects the shallows the least amount. So what you want to do, if you cannot catch anything on these deeper oriented pockets, you want to move back into the shallow type structure and cover to cover water back in here. And what I want to focus on is one, existing cover, but two, a lot of times they pin up bait fish back in these shallow flats. These are great areas for spinner baits, buzz baits, chatterbaits, rattle traps, all different kinds of things. I want to focus on these flats, and then as I eliminate these flats, I can move back into these pockets and see if they have bait fish pinned in these pockets in areas. High points back in here or deeper little edges can be places where they can corral bait. If I don't see anything back here, nothing, as I'm cruising through, I'm going to leave that pocket and go to another one immediately. Check out this pocket, it has more. Now, if I start catching them in the backs of pockets, you can run the same pattern. There's one back of a pocket, two back of a pocket. Then as you move up the lake, you can see another back pocket area, another one over here. Look at all these different things where you can run a pattern. Now, most oftentimes in the fall, what you're going to see are a ton of scattered fish. So by covering water, we want to find areas like these two islands right here that give you a diversity of structure and cover to fish in a relatively short time. And once you can start to eliminate that water, you can find a better bite. Now, if I catch nothing on the end, and you got to think about this too, this is a reservoir, meaning it's going to be in different stages. The water is going to change up here on the upper end where you have the inflow. On the outflow down here, it's going to tend to be behind it. Things on this lake are going to happen on the north end first, followed by the south end, because this just is shallower, generally more affected by things. As you get down toward the dam, you get deeper, less affected. I personally enjoy clear water. I enjoy deeper water fishing, so I am more comfortable on this end of the lake. If you are a shallow water guy, you can do the same thing on the north end of the lake. All you want to focus on is literally hitting these different areas and pockets where there is depth. Great example right here, you have 28-foot river channel running into a 2-foot pocket. This is an excellent spot to start. The water tends to be a little bit dirtier up here. Think spinnerbait, think rattle trap, think deep crankbait on these edges right here, and then move back into these pockets. Think topwater, frogs, flipping, whatever you want. Cover a lot of water to find a bite. The very next thing that I'm going to do before I go to that body of water, just understanding what I understand about lakes, I'm going to open up Google Maps and I'm going to zoom in on these areas and get a good idea for what the existing cover is. As we are up here on this north end of the lake, you can see the water clarity transitions that you get, and the cover and structure that you get is very different from what you have down on the south end of the lake, where you have way greater depths. But what we can see here, these pocket areas offer us good depth changes and good structure and cover options. Feather Cove back in here offers us some deeper and shallower areas and a lot of boat docks. Now, one thing in the fall that can be key if you start to catch them on boat docks, remember that boat docks where pockets open up are going to tend to be areas that hold fish better. So boat dockets where pockets open up, the mouth of those pockets are going to tend to hold more fish, and you can make a pattern of running the first boat dock in a pocket. You can also, if the weather is bad, start picking them up on the last boat dock in a pocket, because those fish have moved all the way back. You got to pay attention to what is around you and get a good understanding of what the lake offers before you head in. Same thing here. We have a deeper pocket in here. We have boat docks right at the neck of the pocket, but we also have boat docks in the back corner. So fish these docks, understand where those bass are located, and then adjust accordingly. Covering water in the fall is all about being smart about what you do. Here's a great example of coves. That first boat dock right there, catch them on that, catch them on that, catch them on that. If I know that that's what's happening, I'm not going to waste my time running back in here. I'm simply going to move to the next pocket and fish these first 4 or 5 boat docks right here in the mouth. Catch them there. I'm going to move over, right? First couple docks in the pocket, first couple docks in the pocket, and then you can make that a pattern. First couple docks in the pocket. Now, the other thing to consider is there's always fish on marina docks, because marina docks are always there. Now, marina docks can be their own pattern when you're covering water, and what you want to understand is they're either going to be on the docks out here, or they're going to be way up here buried, depending on what's going on. And that depends on how you're fishing these pockets. Most oftentimes in the fall, I want to look at the covered slips first. If I can find fish up under covered slips and there are boats in there, I'm gonna catch fish. If there's no boats in there, even better. A spinnerbait is great. Also, flipping a spoon and letting it fall right beside those dock pilings can get you bit. Just being different and mixing up the way that you're covering water can help you out a lot. Guys, we hope you enjoyed today's quick breakdown of covering water in the fall, where we're going, what we're looking for. If you like what's going on the channel, give us a like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.